recite the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ken, if you would, please.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this new day and all the many blessings that you've given all of us. We thank you for Rotary and ask that you help us to continue to grow. We ask that you also help bring this country back together again like it used to be. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Everybody please be seated. Well, this will be our last time we Zoom a meeting, so next week when the district governor is here, everybody should plan on being here if you want to hear what she's got to say and hear the what may possibly be a very spirited discussion with her about our satellite club department.
Or nothing. I don't know.
It's not gonna be your average governor's visit with just a rah message and all. We're gonna talk some business.
We'll see.
See, on everybody's table, there's a bio of a lady and her son who are our habitat builder, or the people we're building a habitat house for. It's in the I've been out there. We're currently simultaneously building 14 houses in St. Teresa's place. So I was out there a couple of weeks ago, and there was some guy across the street painting the front door and spiffing up his house. And one of the core crew from Habitat said they've noticed that a lot since they started building there. The neighborhood's coming up already.
All right.
We're going to work out there on the 17th. That'll be our first work day. So if you want to come out for like 4 hours or something on a Saturday morning, let me know. And I'll pass your name on to the volunteer coordinator. What's that?
I'm doing the flowers for a wedding that day. I'm decorating.
How about the 24th?
I'm not. That's my son's birthday.
Uh-huh.
I can come in.
The 24th? Okay, we're doing the 17th, the 24th, and May 15th. This will be us, Catholics for Habitat. There'll be some Knights of Columbus there, some firefighters will be there in May. And who knows who all is going to show up. They'll take help from anybody. So. And what else we got? Of course, the blood drive. You know, line your donors up for May 6th for the blood drive. Then Walking for Dreams, May 23rd. We got our. I got my first corporate sponsor yesterday. Lee Riddle used to be a member here.
Oh, yeah.
He's got his own real estate team within FC Tucker, the Riddle team, him and his wife. So he donated $200 to us. Kind of got a mini sponsor there. And that's all I believe I have. Anybody have anything for the good of the club? No? Okay. Well, our speaker today, our program, is Dr. Rita Wedig, and I'm going to read her bio. This is
Oh, not the whole thing.
oh my goodness, this is one of the most impressive biographies I've ever seen. Oh, I'll try and condense it a little bit. She's got a BS from Eastern Kentucky, an MS and a PhD from Purdue, a little college up the road. I'm sure we've heard of that. And 10 years at Texas Women's University. How'd you end up in Denton, Texas?
This did, huh?
This is interesting. She and her colleagues were the first to trace nutrients from food and supplements to breast milk. They were also the first to trace stable isotope labeled fatty acids into human milk. Let's see. Works with people, with old people and young kids, pediatric and geriatric. Let's see. You're the owner, or are you still the owner of T&W Research?
No, I sold it.
Okay, good. Retired as administrative director of Health Sciences Center, at the adjunct professor of nursing at the University of Louisville. Let's see. You're a Kentucky colonel, an Arkansas traveler, a distinguished alumni of Hardin County Schools,
There you go.
outstanding alumni in Eastern Kentucky. All right. and you're a master gardener.
Sure.
You work in the food bank. Let's see. Take care of the rose garden at U of V. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Landscape Committee for Habitat Homes. And the co-chair of Youth Education University of Community Gardens / projects. Okay. And talking about rose rosette, that's a disease roses get?
Oh, it is, and it's
Okay.
all over Evansville.
All right. Well, I have rose bushes, so I'm interested to hear that. So, all right. Well, after all that, Dr. Rita, take it away.
All
Thank
right.
you, yay.
I assume I'm gonna stand right up here and somebody's gonna move these slides for me. Somebody has to change it for me. I want to talk a little bit about gardening, how it's great for the mind, the body, and everything else. So, somebody have a,
Don't can you do it here at the computer? We can turn the computer around. We have it.
oh, you're equipped with everything.
He's gonna,
He's our
the IT guy.
Wow.
For now, I am.
Uh-oh.
It's probably because you're getting paid so well.
Oh, yes. Paid in value, yes.
Yeah.
This is the four, but you can. Yep.
All right. So a master gardener has an impact in one of, y'all can't see from over
No,
there.
you're fine.
Yeah, no, we can see.
You want to,
We can see, we're fine.
Oh, good. Okay. Exercise the brain, the body, and socialization and philanthropy. I think when you get it with people, it really helps your psyche. It doesn't help all of y'all's. You're with people.
Yes.
One reason when I left the University of Louisville and retired 11 years ago, it makes me in my 70s in case you want to know. I wanted to make sure my brain still operated really well. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the Master Gardeners. If you keep on using your brain in the top thing, if you keep on stimulating it, you'll see a change in your snaps and you'll keep that snaps working. If you don't, it goes to sleep. So you can see no change in snap. So you don't want your brain going to sleep. You want your brain keeping active the whole time. And that's the one thing about getting older is that happens and you don't want that to happen. As I said, I was at the University of Louisville, and one of the things that we had there was an environmental center. And Dr. Rudy Botnagar has been there for many years, but he looks at the heart, the blood vessels, and also the lungs. And you all know we live in a cardiac belt. Anything along the Ohio River is called the cardiac belt. It has a lot of chemicals in the air, a lot of things that stress your body. So you have an increased risk of stroke, heart disease, asthma, all those bad things that you don't want. So the center was set up in Louisville because of the real increase in those diseases. So he's the head of the director of the Environment Institute. And they found that living near green space, those trees, bushes, anything that's a green space, they take some of those bad things out of the air. And so therefore it doesn't affect your heart or your blood vessels nearly as much. So it's really important that you have the green space that we need in Evansville, but it's also important that you get out there and work in that green space, okay? Because it keeps your body flexible, keeps you going, keeps your mind going. So all those things is really important. So body, mind, and spirit, you really need those three. I want to show you a little bit about, and I have this handout over here where you can see all of our gardens. I am the coordinator of all the gardens in 3 counties. We have gardens in Posey County, Vandenberg County, and also in Warwick County. So we have gardens all over. But I wanted to show you how many volunteer hours we put into those gardens, into our activities. Thousands of hours a year. And we have lots and lots of contacts in those 3 counties. So we have a whole bunch of them. So we work at school gardens. You've been to the display garden. How many of you have been to the display garden? I know one.
Where is,
Oh, good. Several of you have.
where is the display garden?
It's right beside the Boy Scouts, between the Boy Scouts and the Red Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
We have a big garden, but also we have a big vegetable garden.
Right.
And we give those vegetables to the pantries in Evansville. I'm going to go through the gardens just briefly, just to show you the ones that I know you probably around or see those gardens. Posey County, we have Hubby House and the Mount Vernon Rain Garden. Now, some of you probably heard of Hubby House, and we do all the gardens around Hubby House. The Mount Vernon Rain Garden is right down by the river. And then Vanderbilt County, going from west, and Hartman's Arboretum. You ever been out there? We have we have lots of different kinds of gardens, and so you can go to whichever garden fits whatever you want to learn about. The Arboretum has wonderful blueberries, blackberries, trees of all kinds, shrubs. It's acres of that. Herb garden at USI. Have you been to your herb garden at USI? Okay. Mary Jo has an herb garden at USI. A lot of herbs there that are medicinal. Nestor Park Zoo, we have two there. We have the family garden, and then we also have the botanical garden. So most of you have been to the zoo. And then Parkview Nursing Home. As I said, we offer variety for everybody, so they see. This is the only one, Parkview Nursing Home, we haven't gotten back into because of COVID, but all the rest of them are active. Downtown, we have a lot downtown. You mentioned Habitat for Humanity. We've been doing that for a number of years, at least 12 or 13 years. And we do about 15 to 17 houses a year. It depends. Last year with COVID, in the fall, we did several homes. And this year we'll still do some. We used to do them in the spring and the fall because, you know, the people that live in the homes, they can't afford big water bills to keep plants alive. And so we always do them in the spring, get them established if we can before that. And then the fall, so they carry it winter. And then Sunset Park West with sunrise, you know, is down. I mean, they're building it up again. So next year we'll have sunrise again. Right now we're working at, and I'll show it to you in a minute. We're working at Patchwork Central. So I'll show you that. Wright's Home, you know where Wright's Home is? We do the gardens outside of Wright's Home. And then the University of Evansville, we do the Rose Garden. And Ann Powell's our director over there.
Where is the Rose Garden?
You know where the greenhouse is?
Yes.
Okay, it's just go around the corner where you see the bushes that surround it, and right inside there.
White box sign?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we started out there with like 75 roses, and Rose Rosette hit us in 2012 there. And so we had to remove every bush out of there and start all over again. And so now we have ways of keeping it down. But once you get Rose Rosette, you have to remove the bush because the mites spread it to the next neighbor. And then you don't want to be a bad neighbor. And so you need to remove the bush and get it out. Yeah, mites. And we spray ours with insecticidal soap or heme oil, and every couple of weeks to get those mites down. But yeah, we see it all over Evansville. I don't have a picture of it here, but I can come back and show you, but it clumps. It looks like a weird collection of blooms and leaves and flowers, like they're all wrinkled up. And it's sort of like genetic abnormality. You think, boy, this is really weird. You think all of a sudden I have many flowers on this little bitty clump, but they don't look right. And they're not right. It's a virus, and there's really nothing that you can do about it.
Rosette.
It's called Rose Rosette.
Okay.
And anyway, so we saw a lot of that, and so we started all over again, and so we don't have it that much because we do use that. Missouri Botanical Garden tried it, and so because it's all over, but Evansville has a lot. So removing it and getting it out of it then doesn't transfer as much. We have two in the north, Oakland Meadow, you know, around Oakland Library. That's Oakland Meadow. It's native plants from this area that are grown there. It's a demonstration. 4-H Center, we take care of that one because we meet there. And then Evansville East Hayes School, you know where Hayes is on, yeah. And her shaking, yes. We have 2 there. We have a big courtyard on the inside. So we have a lot of plants in there and teach the kids how to care for those plants. And so this one, we also have an after-school program there that's on hold because of the COVID, but it does a junior master gardener program out of Purdue and teach those. We have 2 at Wesselman's, the butterfly garden and native plant garden. And so we're over there. Then 3 Sisters. Have ever been to Angel Mounds? We have a garden at Angel Mounds. And then I want to show you our newest one. We just started this one this year, Easter seals. I know you know about Easter seals, early training program there. It looked like that. They had a garden previously, but it had, you know, with the misuse. And so some of these boards, you can tell they're a little bit off and rotting out a little bit. So we're rebuilding those. And so we only had 1 work day. The next work day is on the 17th, and I won't be there. But we managed in 1 day to get them back up, shored up, and get all the rubbish out of there, so it looks a little better. The city donated some mulch for us, and so see where all the black plastic is coming through? They'll get that covered in the 17th. We have to make sure, as you know, Easter seals is half physically challenged or mentally challenged, and the other half are normal children. And so we have to make sure that both of them can work together in this garden. So that's why we have to make sure it is.
So that looks familiar, but where is that?
You know, go out Bellmead at the corner of Bellmead, and I think it's Cutter or something like that. It has a big senior citizen home around the corner. It used to be a church.
East of Green River Road.
Right, it's east
Oh,
of Green
yeah.
River Road. You can go out, either go out Lloyd's, or not Lloyd's, but Lincoln, and then turn right 1 block after Green River. But it used to be a church. I remember years ago I was there. I worked in
Colin.
Yeah, it's in Collin.
So Colin, yeah.
But that doesn't, it didn't, I pass that all the time and I've never even noticed that.
We can't see the garden because it's up on the hill behind the school.
Oh,
That's probably why.
They want to make sure. We used to do sunrise. As I said, I was the chair there. One of the things we try to do is get kids involved all the time, and they love to plant. They just really, I guess getting into the soil is one of their things. Or people call it dirt, they call it soil. But anyway, they love to get in there. And so that's really one of their different schools we do programs for. Evansville Christian School and Evansville Vandenberg County Schools used to come all the time, and we would do things with them. It didn't hurt that we were right beside the playground. So we'd have them for an hour and then they played for an hour. So that was good. Board County, we have 2 of the dam garden. And then we also have the community garden. So it goes to. So that handout shows all the ones, but we have a lot of different gardens that we have a lot of volunteers for. We're doing this collaboration project right now with Patchwork. So I told you Sunrise, they don't have it ready for us until next year. At least that's what Brian says it'll be next year. So we have a lot of different groups from master gardeners that are working to put in concrete blocks, raised beds. The reason Patchwork wants concrete block raised beds is they want no maintenance. They want to make sure those beds last a long time. If you have wooden ones, you have to resurface them or change the wood now and then. But they want concrete block raised beds, which is fine with us, but it's a lot more work. But anyway, so we have Hardscape that's getting there to help us with that. And then Sunrise. And on my volunteers, I have a volunteer who's a mason. So he's invaluable. Yesterday he was really down there. Wrights Home, also the volunteers there are going to education programs there. And then Kay's is going to, and there are others that are also helping with us. Diane Mason and myself were the chairs of the Education University. This is what it looks like now, or did look like, doesn't look like that now. This is what it did look like. And I don't have a slide from. And the reason I think concrete blocks is really good. How many of you have been to Patchwork? Nobody?
Sure.
Oh, good. Well, right next to where we're putting in our beds is this.
Yeah.
So it's really appropriate that we put in concrete block raised beds because kids can decorate. Kids did that. They decorated. And then to the right, you'll see this basketball goal. that there's no basketball rim or net or nothing. It's just the back of the goal. And it says Patchwork Central Garden. And there was no garden. So now there will be a garden there. But anyway, Patchwork is at the corner of 3rd and Washington.
Okay.
No, 6th and
Sixth and
Washington. They sort of squished all those streets together there. So you go from 6th, 3rd, 2nd. That's weird, but anyway.
As you're getting towards Sandy's Corner downtown.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right there. It's on the right. It's there's a tower right beside
The
it.
building
Yeah.
burned down.
Yeah.
and they
Exactly.
saved the tower from the church.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And it's really a really great place.
It's a neat facility,
Yeah, and we wanted to make sure that the kids could use it for a long time. We've got the concrete blocks going in, see the concrete. Now, yesterday, those guys, that's the Sunrise Group, but yesterday, just in like 3 hours, they put the bottom 2 rows in there. And so our Jim Willem is our head of hardscape. He was afraid that the children are going to sit on there and they're going to plant because they have to be able to reach in. And they might scrub their clothes or their, you know. And so we're putting wood, treated wood that's rounded off on there so that they can sit in. We have a higher bed because sweet potatoes is their thing. They just love sweet potatoes. So we're building one that's higher. So, and they can also sit and dig out the sweet potatoes or whatever. So anyway, so that's what we're
Why
doing.
higher?
You can build them in. You need to have at least 12 inches. And the reason is because any of y'all have Bermuda grass?
Yeah.
Oh, it grows through everything, doesn't it? Anyway, if you get it that high, then it doesn't grow through that. And so we put cardboard on the bottom to sort of smother it also. And then we put soil on top of that and then grow.
I thought it might be to keep the rabbits from eating it or something.
I don't know if they have rabbits down, but they probably do.
Rabbits.
But then the higher one, you can build them all sorts. We have a lot of people who are handicapped that they're up to their waist or a little below. At Parkview, a nursing home, they're up to where they can work into them without bending over. So you can build them at whatever height you want to, but children can get down there pretty easy. So, and then the one that's for sweet potatoes is 3 to 4 concrete blocks high. So it's higher so that they don't have to, because sweet potatoes need depth and width a little bit more, and the vines would go off. So anyway, that's what it looks like. Now, I gave you a planting guide, easy planting guide, and I know you're all interested in planting, so I just want to go through a few things with you. You have to have the right spot, no matter what you're planting. And when you get something, it'll usually say shade or sun. And if it says sun, it needs at least 6 hours of sun. And most all vegetables have to have sun. So you need 6 hours of sun. If it says shade or part shade, then usually the morning, you can get it out there and have 2 to 3 hours of sun, but it cannot stand afternoon sun or longer than 6 hours. If it says shade, or it will live. It'll die on it. So sun is really important. So the right spot. Next one is soil. Now, all you've been reading in the paper about Jacobsville, and now they're going to be testing south, right? You've heard that. Oh, lead is really bad, and you know the EPA hasn't covered it and replaced a lot of the soil in Jacobsville. And so testing is very important. So if you live anywhere, you should have your garden tested, your soil tested. There's an organization called Push It, PUSH-IT. You can go on the internet and find them. And if you have a big garden, then give them a call and they'll come and test it for you sometimes. And you'll find out, especially if you live in downtown Evansville or Jacobsville, they really want to get that tested for you. But it tells you how much organic matter you need to add. It tells you if you need sulfur, if the pH is too high. It tells you whatever you really need to know about your soil. So that's really important. Organic matter is really, really important. Do you add organic matter to your soil? How many of you garden? None. Yes.
But I have to take care of one. So.
Good. So some people do have one. So it's important that you do add organic matter. And that can be leaves, So we have trees around, the leaves fall, so you have leaves you can put on there.
Mm.
You need to dig the hole just a little bit. If you bought a plant, like you came to our plant sale, Master Gardeners, or you went to Lowe's or someplace and you bought a plant, you need the hole bigger than the plant. But when you put it into the ground, make sure the soil comes up just level to the plant. Don't put a lot on top of it. No. Now, some of them you have to watch is they have extra soil on top. And the roots are down here, but the soil's like this thick on top of it. So get a little bit of that off because it doesn't need all that soil on top of the plant. But make sure you don't cover the roots, but make sure you don't get a lot above the root ball. Sometimes you see the roots are tangled at the bottom of the when you pull it out. You notice it looks like they're squished together or they're tangled up a little bit or they're going in circles. You need to tease that apart. You need to tease it apart just so you can get into the ground and it'll have room to grow. If it's tied up, it's going to stay tied up all the way around it and it's going to cut itself off. It won't live. But if you tease it apart, then it can grow out and the roots can go into the soil. So tease it apart and then bring the soil up to the plant and then water it in. If you know there's going to be a lot of rain coming, like tonight or tomorrow or something, just water it in a little bit. But if there's no rain coming in the forecast, water it. And you don't need to overwater. Stick your finger in the soil. And if your finger comes out wet, it's got enough water. But if your finger comes out dry down here, you need to water it. Just stick it in there. And the same with your house plants, or anything you're growing. Stick your finger in there. The care of the plant, don't bring the mulch all the way up until you got it you went all the way around that root. I mean, the stem. Because if you do, you're suffocating it. So don't get it up there. But you can pull it out just a little bit. You cover the roots. But the roots are out here. They're not here. They're out there. So usually some of you all remember her name, Larry Kaplan?
Yeah.
The drip zone for water, remember on trees, it's out there at the end of the tree branch. That's where the roots are. So it's the same with the plants. They're out there at the end. So the water goes out here, not here. Okay. Water and mulch and same with the water, like I told you, we'll go stick it in. All right. I gave you a brief planting guide because I gave you one to have that information on there. Also, I wanted to tell you about the plant sale. We do hold one every year. Last year we couldn't because of COVID, so it was on the internet. You could order plants on the internet, and that went pretty well. You know, one thing COVID has gotten us to, if you're older, sometimes it's hard to do the computer stuff. And then if you do the computer stuff, you get hacked. And then you're going, oh my goodness gracious. So it's a double-edged sword there, but you have to come into the 21st century sometime. And so anyway, we did do it by internet. So we did have a successful plant sale, but it took a lot of work. And I was glad that IT people on the committee could do that because otherwise, because the plant sale is the one that keeps all these gardens going that I told you about that are in the 3 counties. Without that plant sale, we couldn't keep all the gardens going because we furnish a lot of the finance, besides the volunteers, we do furnish financing for those gardens too. So that's why. The garden walk we have coming up, many of you have probably been to garden walk. Have you been there to any of them? Anyway, the garden walk, we have like 10 or 12, 10 I think this year, gardens and also display garden throughout Vanderbilt County. And they'll be east, west, and middle, and north. And sometimes we have them in Posey and other ones. But you can go through those gardens and see what you like and then how to plant it, how to grow it. So it's an education experience besides just going to the garden. And then our display garden, we have a display garden, you know, that's between the Boy Scouts and Red Cross right on Lloyd's Expressway. And we're there anytime. We have educational presentations. So if you ever have any questions, you can just come in. Or if you have any questions and want to just get on the internet and send us a question, then we'll get back to you about that. But that's that's what we're doing. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Uh,
Yes.
The habitat, do you design the plantings around the house initially for the habitat houses?
It depends on what Colonial will give us, because Colonial is the one that supplies most of the plants for us. So it depends what they have in stock and what they will give us, what we design. Sometimes a homeowner will have a certain thing they want, and they already have it there, so we incorporate that into whatever we're planting. We try to do low maintenance
Exactly.
and
These
and
bushes
something that doesn't require a lot of water.
bushes that grow so large and people, I mean, it's,
You can't see out the window after a while.
well, and some of them get so big that the root systems get into the foundation
Yeah,
and they become trees and are next to the house planted way too close.
yeah. But
And
you should do small and something that's gonna stay 2 to 3 feet. Because we usually just do the front of the house, and we usually will plant halfway. We have a span about this wide that we dig up this grass. We have to dig the grass up first, and then we'll use plant in the middle of that. But we don't plant anything that gets more than 2 or 3 feet. Because we want to make sure, you need to see out, but you also need security so that you can.
actually, I have always thought that this needs to be a foundation plant
Yeah,
rather than great big bushes and stuff.
yeah, we don't put any
They
of those
get,
in.
people make big mistakes.
No.
And the architects that design that stuff go overboard, and they are creating a situation where they're going to stay busy for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and we have a landscape,
Job security.
there's a landscape committee or on, for Habitat. They have lots of committees set up, and they do education for all the homeowners. And Carol and Fran, who are the chairs of that one, they present at that. I'm not sure the homeowners are there or that they really listen or that the people who are doing the landscaping know that, but we do. But again, it's what Colonial have available for us because we don't pay for it and the homeowner doesn't. So that's what we put into the grant. And some of us donate some things like irises and other things to put on the end because we only have a little color. But usually, yeah.
When was the plant sale?
May 1st,
At,
first Saturday of the month.
at your
It's
facility?
4-H Center.
At the 4-H center, okay.
It's a 4-H Center.
Is it in the big building?
The big building. The only, and you have a flyer right there. And it, I think
Are
it
these all
says,
plants that you have
yeah, it's,
grown?
we grow have part of them. We purchase them as little bitty, tiny, little seedlings. And then, we have what we call transplant days. And we take those little ones and put them into bigger containers. And then we grow them in our greenhouses for, we did the 1st of March, 2 months. And so they'll be bigger plants.
Is Colonial the only one that donates to you? I mean,
They donate to Habitat. They don't donate to,
um,
but they donate to Habitat homes. So, and for K school, Colonial does great things there too. And they try to help out any of our inner city or places that, because for what we're doing patchwork, we'll probably get soil and mulch from them, and they'll give patchwork a discount. But yeah, we go to Lowe's does that too. They
I'm
donate.
surprised you haven't said Hillside Gardens at all.
Haven't said what again?
Hillside Gardens, do they not?
Not that I know of. They could, but I just don't know that they do because most of the time we get from Home Depot is helping with Easter seals. And we'll take donations for anything. And we approach a lot of people saying, please, pretty please with sugar on it. And
So I can't believe those ladies out there are right in the middle of that.
and they could, I just don't know that. I don't know the ones that I do that they have, but I do know the ones that I do. I haven't heard their names. But I just do Habitat, and I do Easter seals, and I do patchwork. So
the sale, plant sale, a lot of those are, the members themselves grow these things and then bring them out and
Some of us-
sell them.
Some of us do. If we have something in our garden, our home gardens, that we have too much of, then we'll repot those and take it and grow them up a little bit and then take them out there. But most of the plants, we purchase the little starts and then we grow those up and sell those. We have 2 greenhouses at the display garden. You've probably seen those. And we also, thanks to UV, we also use their greenhouse and we grow those there too. So we do 40,000 plants.
Wow.
And we purchased like 20,000 of those. And so we have a lot of plants that we grow. And so it takes a lot of greenhouses. And we have some in our own greenhouses. Plus we have a lot of vegetables that different master gardeners grow in their own greenhouses and bring them there to sale. We have like, varieties and varieties of tomatoes that you can go and get. They're just gorgeous. And boy, they taste good too. So we have those also. I love, you can buy sugar sweet, the little, or pear, a little cherry yellow tomatoes. And then you can buy the chocolate cherry tomatoes. It's real purpley. It looks purple to brown, black, and then a red one. And mix those 3 together. And it's so pretty, but also the kids love different colors. But also they're really sweet, and so they're really good in salad. But anyway, you can get all 3 varieties. My doctorate's in nutrition, so.
There you
And I ate a donut. That's the first one I've had in years.
go. Balanced diet.
Yeah.
I have a Vanderbilt plant that I went over winter by the French door, and it has a white fungus on it.
Oh,
Now, that little, white, and I Googled what to do with it, and it said buy the neem oil, whatever. And I did, and I sprayed it, and it's not working. It's not getting rid of it.
it takes a while if you use neem oil. So you might want to give it more time. If that doesn't work, email us in the next, give it a month, and email us, and we'll give you some more advice on that one.
Okay.
But just give it a little bit of time. Some of us in the master gardeners, organic gardeners, we don't use artificial chemicals at all. We try to use ones that are not. But there are times like when you get an infestation and you really need to get that out of there, that you have to go to organic means. So, go to pesticides or whatever. So there are times you need to, but we always go with organic first if we can possibly do that, so.
What's the best type of grass? What species of grass grows best for a good looking lawn?
Oh, for a good looking lawn.
Yeah.
My lawn looks terrible, so I care more about the plants than I do about the lawn. But so I'm not one on lawns, so you can email us and go find somebody that does lawns really well. But I'm not a lawn person. I tell you, once I don't like it, that's Bermuda grass.
I've got that in my backyard.
Yeah, that grows. So anyway, I don't like Bermuda grass. But in Little Rock, we had soja, and I did like that grass. That's not
But
one
that's
that's
so-
here that well.
That's so much like Bermuda.
Oh, it is. Up here, it's terrible. But down there, it wasn't that bad. But up here, it's terrible.
What is it about Bermuda that you don't like?
Oh, it's those underground tentacles that go everywhere and spreads everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
But they also, if you were having it in a field and you were playing on the field or driving cars on the field, it holds up and holds together.
Yeah,
And it has a,
it has a purpose.
yeah,
It's just
exactly,
not like
and
garden.
it chokes out
Yeah.
everything else.
It
So
does
you don't
choke.
have dandelions.
No, you don't. But, and it's also, if you've got a field, it's gonna slope because it'll just go all over. But in gardens, if you're putting in a garden and you've got it in your yard,
Oh, yes.
it'll get into your garden really fast. And so that's why we do 12 inches. But it is a challenge if you've got a bed, if it's ground level.
Right.
It is a challenge. We try to smother it. And that lasts for a while. I put down, newspaper's great and cardboard. So when I first did the beds, I was taking the class back in 2011 or something, or 10, I don't know. Anyway, I put down like Larry Kaplan says, smothered to death. When you're doing it, put down like 30 sheets of paper. So I did. I found newspaper from all over and I put down like 30 sheets of paper. And actually for 6 years, I didn't have Bermuda grass, and then it came through that. But it lasted for a while. So smother it with a lot of it. Now we use cardboard, paper, everything else we can get there. But yeah, we do. Any other questions? And as I said, if you have a
I've got
question,
a question.
and,
You got one
please.
question, you got one question here, yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, and you may have already addressed this. I heard you mentioning habitat. But when I got my house, my house had all this beautiful landscaping with all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. But I had no idea how to take care of it. And so I don't know, like when it comes to those folks with like the habitat homes and you guys do these different things, if you guys kind of show them any way, or if you guys do some introduction, this is how to take care of your stuff when you buy a home type classes. I don't know.
We have Carol and Fran did 2 classes for them, and so she tries to tell those new homeowners how to take care of the plants. We also, when we put the plant in the ground, it has that sticker on there what the plant is and how to care for it. And so we'll usually talk to the homeowner about each plant and how to take care of it according to that sticker. And so we'll leave that with them. We also give them our name and number so that they can call us if they have any questions. Because, you're halfway there and not there. And so you're listening with half a mind when you're hearing this stuff. And so later they may have questions. And so we ask them to send, if they do have questions, to let us know. We had one, and sometimes there's no homeowner there when we're there. And so we have to get in touch with Carol and Fran, follow up, and other people do too. But we want them to take care. One time we had a little girl, she was 4 or 5, and she helped us water. And that's the first time we've had that happen. That was really great. So it came out and really, and we've had others that came out too, but that was the first time we have a little one that I know of in the last 8 years. And then other times we've had people that weren't there. And so we followed up later. So we try to, but and one time we had came back and somebody stole all the plants.
Oh, right out of the ground.
Right on the
Right
ground.
out of the ground.
So we redid that house. So we try as best we can, and we're hoping that they'll follow up, but that's all we can do is just.
What's the difference between potting soil and garden soil?
Between what soil? Potting?
Uh-huh.
Potting soil and garden soil. The potting soil is lighter, fluffier. The texture is finer. So they've added organic matter, usually peat moss or something like that to it, so that it drains better, so the water doesn't stick to the roots as much. It also some of the potting soil has 6 months of water retention. So the water stays there, but it has fertilizer in it already. You'll notice it says in the bag fertilizer has been added. So it has those things. And then the regular topsoil that they sell you is just topsoil. It doesn't have any of those additives to it. So you'll have to amend it with organic matter and fertilizer. But we use sometimes seed starter, and that is a lot of peat moss and other things into it. You can buy it also. That's different other kinds other than what we get. But seed starter has the little nutrient things, so we have to add it. But it's very light and fluffy. So the seeds just come right up through it real easy. It's just easier to grow. But for me, when we're doing all these educational projects with the children, we don't want to have to go through a lot of that, how to have the fertilizer and the water for the kids. So we use potting soil. We get a good variety of potting soil that we like, or at least I do, so that they can just take them home, grow the plant, and put it in the ground. The easiest way we can do it with children is the way to go.
All righty. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you have any questions, just email us and we'll get the answers to you as best we can.
Well, all right.
You can put it on the laptop. I'll take care of it.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks
Does
for
anybody have
calling.
anything for the good of Rotary before we close? Okay, everybody please stand and recite with me the four-way test. For the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is
it true?
second,
Is
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
and fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned. Great meeting. Thank you, Rita. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, do you have anything else while you're on the line
Did I take too long?
before I end the meeting?
You know, it's important.
Walter,
here, bro.
okay, Walter,